Ihre Stadt braucht sie, Ihre Stadt braucht sie. Jedes Leben, das durch effiziente medizinische Hilfe gerettet wird, ist ein Stich ins Herz der Epidemie. Einige machen den Unterschied. Wählen Sie sich beim nächsten Registrierungsbüro des Ministeriums für Arbeit und Wehrdienst oder schreiben Sie an 15 Kingsway, London.
It's locked, all right.
Was? Das sind eigentlich Sie. Ja, Doktor.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor. Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Wir leben in London. Arbeiten Sie hier allein?
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Wird also eine Leichenhalle. Warum auf diese Leichen aufpassen? Ja, können ja anfangen zu rennen, eventuell.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Oder das. Warum die Leichenhalle schließen?
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Keine Angst vor den Tod.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
Die meisten fürchten sich vor totem Fleisch.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Der Hinweis verfügbar. Cash hat seit seiner Arbeit als Sanitäter keine Angst vor dem Tod. Wie haben Sie diese Arbeit bekommen?
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Sind wir uns schon mal begegnet?
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Ah, schwierig. Hinweis benötigt, okay. Würde noch was fragen. Handeln.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Protein, Opium. Eine rätselhafte Formel. Diese auf ein Stück Papier geschriebene Formel scheint komplex zu sein. Die muss analysiert werden. Wir kaufen. Wir kaufen die mal. Brauchen wir nicht. Die Uhren verkaufen wir mal. Protein ist eine Arznei, die effektiv als Schmerzmittel und Hustenstiller verwendet wird. Opium wegen der Ausbreitung der Epidemie und des allgegenwärtigen Medikamentenmangels konsumieren Londoner Bürger in letzter Zeit aufgrund seiner beruhigenden und betäubenden Wirkung wieder Opium. Opium, irgendwas für die Wissenschaft. Hier Proben und Inhaltsstoffe. Leichen durchsuchen. Wer macht denn das? Geklitterter Brief. Meine Liebste, ich konnte endlich das Geld für die Gebühr auftreiben, die der Krankenwagenfahrer dafür verlangt hat, mich ins Krankenhaus zu bringen. Bitte mach dir keine Sorgen und werde einfach gesund. Ich habe mich um alles gekümmert. Ich habe einige unserer Nachbarn gefragt. Ihnen zufolge ist dieser Mr. Hooks eine Art ehrlicher Gauner. Er mag zusätzliches Geld für ein Bett verlangen. Aber das bekommt man dann auch. Bitte entschuldige, dass ich zusätzlich nicht zahlen wollte. Deine Genesung steht an erster Stelle. Das ist mir nun bewusst offenbar. Genießt das Pembroke Hospital einen guten Ruf, trotz des schlechten Benehmens dieses Milton Hooks. Ich verspreche dir, dass nun alles in Ordnung kommt. Ich komme dich schnellstmöglich an deinem sauberen Bett besuchen. In tiefer Liebe, Nicola. Schwierig. Milton Hooks. Milton bedeutet einige der Patienten des Pembrokes. Milton bedeutet einige der Patienten des Pembroke aus. Beutete einige des Patienten aus. So rum. Das meine ich natürlich. Hust. 5 Schillinge, naja. Also deren Leichenhalle war weil die Hauptleichenhalle vom Krankenhaus zugemacht wurde. Die Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Im Namen der Barmherzigkeit, sie verlassen sich auf sie. Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Melden Sie sich beim nächsten Arbeit- und Wehrdienst.
I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
Ah, da kann man auch rein.
It's locked, all right.
Muss man das da eventuell reinschmuggeln, wenn er sich... Obwohl, ist man nicht ein Gefangener drin? Wir gehen jetzt mal zur Schwester. Die Schwester wartet nach der ganze Zeit schon. Wollte irgendwas von uns. Der geile Krankenwagen hier, ne? Was für eine Schaukel. Offensichtlich ja.
Doctor, I have patience to do.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Wir leben in London. Wie ist die Lage hier?
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Die Belegschaft ist wichtiger. Ist überall dasselbe. Ich habe keine große Wahl.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Sie untersuchen, drücken Sie R2 für Details. Okay, wir haben da oben quasi die gute Wahl und da oben halt das Böse. Das direkt rot ist. Erzählen Sie mir vom Personal.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Menschen, die Sie schätzen, was ist mit der Leitung?
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Was mit der Leitung?
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Wenn wir das benötigt, dann können wir weiter ausfragen. Persönliche Fragen. Hinweis benötigt, okay, den können wir halt sehr gut ausfragen später.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Wir brauchen mehr Info.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Wir leben in London. Wie ist die Lage hier?
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Unsichtbarer Feind?
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Für das Krankenhaus versagen.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Erzählen Sie mir vom Personal.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Ist irgendeiner hier drin, der nicht gute Arbeit macht? Jemand, der besonders hervorsticht?
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Koran ist überzeugt, dass Gwyneth Brannigan als Schwester überqualifiziert ist. Koran strapaziert sich und weigert sich, die Arbeit niederzulegen. Sprechen Sie.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Also die Fragen hatten wir, glaube ich, schon jetzt. Obwohl, ne, hier. Tippett hat sie gelobt.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Erstmal ausgefragt hier.
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Ja, Moment mal. It's freezing hier und die ganzen Patienten, die draußen sind. In Zelten. Ist da, ne? Ist da wieder nicht in Ordnung oder was? Bleiben Sie zu Hause, Influencer. Oh nö, da kommen sie wieder. Häufig von Lungenentzündungen begleitet, bleiben Sie zu Hause, um die spanische Grippe in dem Fall zu vermeiden. Das ein echtes Bild ist von damals. Weil die spanische Grippe gab es ja wirklich.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Ich habe einige Fragen.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
Wie geht es Mr. Hampton?
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
Wer ist Dr. Swansea?
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Ich bin gerade erst kennengelernt. Er kennt mich besser als ich ihn.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Ich bin gerade erst kennengelernt.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Information. Wo ist mein Raum?
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Das hat Schwester Crane eigentlich, aber gut. Krankenhaus ist voll. Wegen der Grippe nimmt dieses Krankenhaus keine weiteren Patienten auf. Das Krankenhaus ist voll. Bitte kehren Sie wieder heim. Das willst du beim Krankenhaus nicht lesen. Das willst du beim Krankenhaus halt nicht lesen, ne?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Das ist ja der Typ, der nicht so nett ist für Leute. Wir leben in London. Wie ist die Lage hier?
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every day.
Waffenschmuggel.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Was ist Ihr Beruf hier?
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Wie ist die gesundheitliche Lage?
Since you're on the front line, How is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Sie haben wohl einiges durchgemacht.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Ah, wird nicht passieren, Kollege. Solche Fragen. Erpressen andere Patienten.
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Gut, der ist erst durch den Patient da drauf gekommen.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Unser Waffenhändler, ja. Miltons Schrotflinte. 315. Ja, gut, ey. Ich glaube, wir müssen noch ein bisschen,
It's safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
diese Musik, ne? Die Musik ganz cool besetzt, ey. Muss ich ehrlich sagen. Streicht so ein bisschen hier, dass hier alles so ein bisschen Bach runtergeht, ne?
Perhaps I should have considered the offer.
Bassfiole. Ah, hier wollte ich nochmal sprechen.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Persönliche Fragen. London. Die sind erschöpft.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Wir müssen nichts beweisen. Schwester Gwen macht sich Sorgen. Halten sich verhandlungslos.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Hat sich richtig gelohnt.
Dr. Swansea is right.
Nowadays.
This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Mhm. Ist vertrauenswürdig. Eben in London. Sie sind eine Vampirin.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Bleiben Sie mir dieses Gefühl. Haben Sie je vom Kotak-Syndrom gehört?
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Sind Sie eine Patientin?
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Ja, nie. Der Feinde.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Hier ist schon wieder der Garten. Wir kümmern uns um sie.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Das ist ja gut. Die Frage. Wer sind Sie wirklich?
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Aber schon wieder der Garten. Ich glaube, ich gehe jetzt mal zum Garten.
Glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Ist ja Mitternacht im Garten von Gut und Böse. Bürgermission betritt den Garten im Hinterhof. Milton Hooks, der Krankenwagenfahrer des Pembroke Hospital, erzählte, wurde während einer Fahrt zum Krankenhaus von einem Patienten angegriffen. Er musste durch den Garten der Einrichtung fliehen, hat dabei allerdings seine Geldbörse verloren. Angreifer muss er recht brutal gewesen sein. Der Milton weigert sich zurückzugehen. Vielleicht sollte ich mir den Garten anschauen und herausfinden, was dort vor sich geht. Bürgermission. Gehen wir hier rum.